Yes, welcome to episode 31, ladies and gentlemen, to the Who's podcast. This is myself, Eric, aka Jalen Brunson for All Star. We got Armani, aka 75, 77 and 5 Lakers.
I got hope. I still got hope.
He's not here, but we're gonna hold it down for a short brief episode.
Hmm.
Got on episode. The start of the NBA season has Wednesday, so a lot of it has happened in a short period of time. Some surprises we got going on right now during the NBA season. The Utah Jazz 4-1 start. No one thought that after what happened during the offseason, trading away Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz as they're winning games. They beat the Nuggets opening night. Yeah, a couple of impressive wins. They lost
I
last night
mean,
to the Timberwolves.
we didn't expect them. I mean, me personally, I didn't expect them to be horrible. They still have a good quality cast. They just don't have a star. Like
Yeah.
with the additions of Laurie Markkinen and Colin Sexton, you still
hmm
got JC on the
Speaking of,
squad as well too. Go ahead.
mhm.
So yeah, I didn't expect them to be like bad. Now it's beginning of the season.
um,
They're not playing for anything to lose. So I would I don't want to say like middle of the pack, but it's pretty evident that they don't have a they don't have a star, but they're not really garbage either. They're not like that bad of a team.
yeah. So Laura has um also we still got Jordan Clarkson, still got Mike Conley for the injury he had a
Hmm.
couple of games ago. Colin Sexton, he's been balling, so hopefully they can keep this up. And you never know what they end up happening to them during the season. So
Hmm.
a good start for them, 4-2. We'll see what happens with them the rest of the if they start, going another direction or they stay on this path to maybe a playing or playoff berth. Who knows? So we're gonna keep an eye on them for the rest of the season and
Hmm.
see what goes from there. Another story, another big item. Actually, teams have been their title contenders gone up to a very very slow start with the 76ers. Um,
It's
they
trouble in
won last
Philly.
night at Toronto. As one of our home and home. But there is some rumblings happening. They're off to a 2-4 start.
Hmm.
Um, and you hear rumblings about Doc Rivers. And the thing is this: one alter six or sooner or later the heat is going to be turned up a notch because Doc Rivers, I've been saying this for the last for a year on this pod. Um, he's on he's on watch. The clock is ticking for him because his teams in Philadelphia have not been to conference finals. They haven't been past the second round these last 2 years, especially 2 years ago when they were the one seed and lost that surprising series to the Hawks. Last year they flamed out against the Heat in the playoffs. start to hear rumors about Joel Embiid and his roles diminishing through James Harden a lot. It's starting to become a messy situation in Philly. So it's still early, but they really need to get it together ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that, Romani?
I mean, when you say that like Doc Rivers is on the clock, do you mean like not having a job period in the NBA, or just like
He's on a
because
just on the
because
just on
go
the
ahead.
Sixers.
Okay, because the reason why I say that is because like
I was mentioning just on the
this,
Sixers. Yeah.
because this whole thing with Doc Rivers is just like it's something that we all know, this is something that's been going on for a very long time, and I feel like this started taking place like for a coach to be around this long, right, and get this much of a opportunity, right, and only has one ring next to his name is crazy. Like when he was coach of the
Mm-hmm.
Magic, in the early 2000s, remember he blew a 3-1 lead, right? He finally
Mm-hmm.
gets a break,
Detroit.
win, right, wins it against a Detroit team that was what's the overlooked, a very overlooked Detroit team compared to who they had on that Magic's roster. Then also had the opportunity to have T Mac and Tim Duncan on the same team. But the reason that fell through is because
Mm-hmm.
Timmy D wanted his family on the plane, and he wasn't allowed. He wasn't jacking that. So you finally get a break in 2008 where you beat the Lakers and win the NBA championship. And then, unfortunately, the next season, KG gets hurt. You're plagued with injuries. You don't make
Mm-hmm.
it to the finals. You come back to the finals 2010. You lose in the game 7, and then the decline. But also, like, it's not all his fault because that that Celtics team was getting up there in age. So it's totally not all of his fault. Then
Yeah.
you get to the Clippers, right? You build that, right? You build that Lob City, you build that Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, then you get Kawhi and PG, and you still don't win. And it's like something's wrong here. Then you go to Philly, you got Embiid, who in my opinion should have been the MVP last year, and you have you have these stacked teams
Ben
and you
Simmons.
can't
Yeah,
win.
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons, and you can't win. So last year we all thought that we all thought that Doc Rivers was going to get the boot last year, and when it was like when the rumblings died down and we're like, yo, he's still coaching the 76ers, we're just like, all right, I guess the front office sees something that we don't. They want to have faith in them, and that's totally fine. But now look, the 76ers are not off to a great start. Um, like the defense is just terrible. The offense is just like guys just don't know what to do. You're kind of stuck in no man's land because in order to get better, like I feel like you got to get off that contract of Tobias Harris, and nobody wants to take that contract. You got Tyrese Maxey who's playing out of his mind. Man's had a
Mm-hmm.
career high, I believe, 45 last night. He played the first
Yes,
half
44 last
perfect,
night. Yeah, 44
perfect.
last night.
He had a perfect
Mm-hmm.
first half. Perfect first half. But like in order to get that team to be better, you got to move that Tobias Harris contract. Or I this is all Doc Rivers philosophy, you know what I'm saying? So in this situation it's just like do you how deep in the regular season do you want to go into it and then realize like, you know what? This guy actually cannot help us win the championship. Like, do you get rid of him now? Or like do you wait it out? That's kind of the when we get to the Lakers, I'll talk about that. But I think with Doc Rivers, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
his clock is winding down, and it just sucks that he's getting, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. It's just like, bro, like you're not proving anything right now,
Mm-hmm. I think that the bubble playoffs when they blew that 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets, it changed a lot of people's opinions about him and his teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that was his best shot of winning the championship in the bubble. But now it's like, all right, you're getting these opportunities, you're coaching stacked teams. and you're not getting the job done. So what's really going on? So
Right.
they're going to have to fix that as soon as possible. And I know it's still early, 6 games in, they're 2-4, but you don't want to be like 15, 20, 25 games in. And then he's like, okay, you're like 5 games under 500, or you're like barely scraping 500 with the roster that you supposed to be a championship contender in the East.
Right. And then also the expectations for this season is higher now because you add a player like James Harden that you got in that Brooklyn deal,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got a MVP type of player in Joel Embiid, and you're looking at that combination, you're like, oh my god, like sky's a ceiling for these two guys, and like they're not getting it to work, you know. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like clock is definitely winding down, and plus like the city of Philly, right? You know, we both live here in New York, and we know how New York fans are. New York fans, they're in win now mode all the time, even though the team can have a bunch of G League players on the team. Like, you know, Philly fans get restless, you know, and to be restless for this long, like having these great teams, having Jimmy Butler on your team, having Tobias Harris on your team, Ben Simmons and Embiid
Mm-hmm.
on your team, and not winning, then having now you have James Harden having Embiid on your team and you're not winning. Like that really says a lot. That really says a lot about this Philadelphia 76er team.
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna they're another team that has high expectations of being title contender in the East, but they're starting season at 1-4. Um, and there's some real concern about this team. Um, Defensively, uh, how can I say nicely? They're a night on defense. Um, they're allowing the most points. They're allowing the most points in the season. The I watched I watched the last game against the Mavericks, and Luka Luka Doncic was having his way against them. Like anytime it's like anytime he gets in the post, he's posting either Ben Simmons, who to me is like I'm not sure if you're gonna get the all-star version of Ben Simmons that everyone's looking at to
So
get back
so
to what
let me
he
ask you
used to be
le-
playing.
le- so let me ask you this question.
Um,
What do you think is wrong with him? What do you think?
it's mentally, man. I think
Mm,
it's
I agree.
mentally
Yeah.
he's still trying to figure out who he is as a player, but it's like it's he has a roadblock,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take time for him to get back to it. But I'm not sure if he wants to get back to it, or if he has it in him to get
Hmm.
back to it. So but other than that, defensively and just the roster construction around Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is not good at all. I
No.
mean, you still got Seth Curry still out. Joe Harris still nursing that ankle injury that he had surgery on. He's in and out of the lineup. You have Royce O'Neal, um, Watanabe, Shadon Sharp, um,
A lot
David
of
Duke
Cam
Jr.
Thomas. Hmm.
Cam Thomas, who's not even getting playing time, and
Hmm.
there's rumblings about him not getting any playing time, and uh, the fact that they surrounded Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving with this type of roster is just mind-boggling, and the fact, and also they signed T.J. Warren, who still hasn't been playing since the bubble.
The bubble.
So
The Michael
yeah,
Jordan in
so
the
it's like
bubble.
okay, and on top of that, you had Luca, who had a 41-point triple double on on
Giannis
Thursday.
had like
You had
40,
Giannis
had
who
like
went
41, something like that.
43.
Hmm.
You have 43. Hmm. And also in the Memphis game they had John Morant and Desmond go for 38
Bane.
each. Meanwhile, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving goes for 35 and 37
Yeah.
each. So, and on top of that, opening night against the Pelicans, they get blown up by 20. And if you think about it, if it wasn't for Royce O'Neal's 3-pointer against the Raptors last week,
Mhm.
they're 0-5 easy. So
Right.
um the coach is I just don't know about Steve Nash, man. It's like I'm not sure if he can survive Christmas or because changes need to be made with Brooklyn or
Yeah.
then but then again it's like they already told you about Kevin Durant already told you about how he felt about the team back in June. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, y'all up in August, but now here we go at a slow start, and
Right.
it's gonna and noise is gonna start come out again and again and again with this team, and I just don't know if they can really survive it. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a so when we talk about Ben Simmons, the reason why I asked that question because I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and I was just like, yo, like I asked him the same question I asked you. Like, what do you think is wrong, like mentally? And I agree. I think it's like a psychological logical thing, like. And I remember when I believe this is after they lost against Atlanta in the playoffs when he was a member of the 76ers. I remember they was asking for Shaq's take on it, and Shaq was like, I really think it's a mental. I think it was either Shaq or Kenny, one of them, but they were saying that it was a mental thing that they think Ben Simmons is really going through. Like this guy doesn't shoot. And then as I was talking to
Hmm.
my buddy about it, he said it's crazy because like Markel Fultz will shoot. And I'm like, you're right. Like that was another point guard
Yeah.
that they drafted a couple years ago that in college he was looking really good in college, and then when he got to
Hmm.
the NBA, like the guy would not shoot and he was injury prone, so you didn't really see much of him. But like Ben Simmons is just like, bro, like we all seen the play, like when they was playing Milwaukee, like it was on a fast break, and like Ben had a clear bucket, and Kyrie's like, yo, shoot it, Ben, and he didn't even look at the hoop. He didn't
Yeah.
look at the hoop. And
Hmm.
then the other night he tried to do a finger roll, a layup, and like just completely missed the
He
hoop. And
airballed
it's
the
just like, yo,
layup. Yeah.
like it's like, bro, you're thinking too much. Like just play the game. Like, and the thing is that the Nets, they're obviously like what you're getting. You're not asking Ben Simmons to score. You just want him for defensive purposes. You need him to guard the other team's best player, best perimeter player, or even low post player, depending on how they play down on a block. That's what he's there for. And also like backdoor cuts, screen and roll actions
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And when he gets the mismatch on the, let's say, get a smaller guard, he could post up like that. We understand that interior game is Ben Simmons' game, but like he's just thinking about it too much, getting into early foul trouble and stuff like that. So it's just like it's like the Nets don't even benefit having you on the court, And as far as the Nets team as a whole, this is just what I think personally. I don't think that their situation is getting a lot of media coverage as like my Los Angeles Lakers. And as you mentioned, Royce O'Neal don't hit that
Hmm.
three, they're easily 0-5, easily. Um,
Hmm.
and it's crazy. Like it's really important that you listen to your star players because like KD was just like, I don't know if I want Nash to be here. It was like gave them an ultimatum. It was either him or it was Nash. And come to find out that this
Hmm.
season both of them is still on this team. So and plus also I will say that the Brooklyn Nets, they lost a lot of depth, especially a big part. Bruce Brown, like he brought a huge spark to the team. Um,
Yeah. That is now a lot of people now a lot of people are talking about that loss by Bruce Brown. Like going to
yeah,
Denver, having going to Denver, you lose that defensive versatility.
lose that, yeah. And then also like as you mentioned, the guys on their roster, like these guys are all young players. These guys are all young players, and like who's only has like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years under their belt in the league. So it's like to get them into a championship mode, like that is just very difficult. Like these are guys that just benefiting
Hmm.
off like 1 year contracts, just trying to make it, just trying to make a name for themselves in the league, and like you're trying to put together a team to help win the championship. So it's not really looking really good
Hmm.
for Brooklyn. Kyrie and KD, they go out there and score 1,000,000 points, but still not going to get the job done because they can't defend.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
but
yeah,
they still got one of the Morris twins. Um, who else? They still got Patty
they got
Mills.
They got
But the thing
Keith.
is that, yeah, Markeith Morris. They still got Patty
Hmm.
Mills. But my thing about him is like, why you playing him more minutes than Cam Thomas? You got Cam Thomas on the bench.
Right,
You can still use some more offense to
right.
help out at least KD and Kyrie, because they're getting to a point where KD and Kyrie gonna have to score at least 80 points for them to have a chance to win night. And by the time the season ends, they might be gassed out.
Hmm.
So they're gonna need some reinforcements. Ben Simmons, they're gonna need him because he needs to like really try to get out of his funk. But you never know with how things are going with him mentally. So just keep an eye on that. And so we
One thing
go.
I do like is that his teammates just like really showing him some positive
Yeah, their
reinforcement
songs at least support. They're showing that
and
support.
right that media conference that Kyrie had the other day. He was just like, yo, like he hasn't played in 2 years, and like
Hmm.
I don't know what it's like to be a professional basketball player, but like if I was to go hoop right now, like I would kind of feel some way in my game because I haven't played in a while. Now it's one thing to sit there and warm up and do layup lines and run some drills when you're in an empty gym or when you're in the gym with your teammates, but it's one thing to play at a full pace basketball game. It's quite different, and like other teams they're starting to pick up on that. That it's like it's a mental game. Like I ain't really got to do much to get into this guy's head. It's kind of like he already disassociated himself from the game. So it's like once I got that, I ain't even got to worry about him. Like clearly to say, like he's like depending on his ability to defend, right? That is like
Hmm.
your defensive anchor on that team. That is your best defensive player on that team. And once he's out of the game, go ahead, go crazy.
Yeah. So basically, it's like a freeway to the lane.
Right. Yep.
So we're gonna go from the team that resides in Brooklyn to the team that resides across the river. Off to a solid start. The Knicks at 3-2, lost to the Milwaukee Bucks by 11 last night. Giannis had another big game. The Knicks 3-2, and I'm seeing things differently than I saw with them last year. Even though they had a 5-1 start, but you saw that it was going to be sustainable. The one piece, Jalen Brunson. I mean, he's been playing really good basketball at a little bit at 12 points. Um, Going against that Bucks team, Giannis had a monster game going against that defense. Like to me, they're still the best team in the East. But I'm seeing overalls that they're, they've been playing really solid basketball. The fact that taking the ball out of Julius Randle's hands and being the initiator of the offense is looking way better for the Knicks. It allows for Randle to be off ball more, catch the ball in the post, and be more assertive with the ball. He hasn't had that many turnovers due to having Jalen Brunson on the court. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the starting five. My concerns I have, because I've been seeing lately, um, the starting shooting guard spot.
Hmm.
Evan Fournier. I know they need 3-point shooting, but he's real slow footed on offense and real slow footed on defense, especially going up against those young wings in the league. Like uh, against Charlotte the other night, he was getting he was getting cooked by Dennis Smith Jr. and Kelly Oubre and Jaden McDaniels. So it's like you at some point you gotta at least look at having Cam Reddish as a starting shooting guard, and Williams comes back from his injury because he hasn't played since preseason with that foot injury. There's gonna be some decisions made about the two guard spot. But I'm really liking how Cam Reddish has been playing. Jay Barrett has been solid, but the only thing I'm concerned about is he's been missing a fair amount of layups around the rim. He really needs to clean that up. But other than that, he's been solid, getting his 20 points per game, 15, 16 points per game. Um, as far as the bench, they've been quickly has been struggling a little bit. They've been
Hmm.
a little bit careless with the ball lately. But I like his style to play. Derrick Rose, coming off the bench. He hasn't been playing as much minutes as you will regularly see on the tips, because remember he's coming off that ankle surgery.
Right.
Um, he's been
Yeah.
out for the season, so
As the
he's trying
season
to
goes on,
he's
I
trying
believe he's
to
going to get back into the flow. So.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna get more minutes, but they're
Hmm.
trying to like reel him in slowly as possible. Um, the Zaire Hartenstein, I've been telling people about him with the days with the Clippers.
Underrated.
He's been really good. He's been really good.
Hmm.
Just the fact that you can play him and Randall, you can like mix and match.
Right.
And what I've been seeing lately from Tibbs, I know, but from the last couple of games, he's been staggering lineups a little bit more than usual. Especially in the fourth quarter, knowing that he couldn't play Evan Fournier in the fourth quarters. So you see a lot more Cam Reddish. You've seen a lot more quickly in the fourth quarter. Um, and also once Grimes comes back, you're gonna have to at least consider cutting minutes from Evan Fournier
Hmm.
and playing Cam Reddish even more. Um, but also, Mitchell Robinson has been a real force on the defensive end. The other night he had 6 blocks against the Hornets. Last night struggled a little bit because we playing against Giannis and Brook Lopez and
Hmm.
that big front line.
Right.
So I'm liking what I'm seeing. They're off to a 3-2 start, but knowing if you like to go to Knicks Twitter, they act like they're 0-5. So I'm just glad that they're off to a solid start. The next seven the next 7 games started last night is going to be real telling. So they played the Bucks last night. They got the Cavaliers Sunday, Hawks Wednesday, Sixers and Celtics back to back Friday and Saturday. The following Monday at Minnesota. The following Wednesday at Brooklyn. So we'll see how with the schedule beefing up a little bit, see how they perform. But I really like this team a lot.
Hmm.
Could it and could it, they're a solid playing team, and they could battle for a playoff spot. That's how
Hmm.
the upgraded
One thing
Jalen
I will
Brunson.
say, I will say, the game against the Grizzlies, like that was
Yeah,
a great
even
competitive game. Watching that, um, and just showing the fight, like the grit, instead of like laying down and just letting John Morant just roll over and
hmm
do his thing. Like there was a lot of close calls, that could have went either way, and it's unfortunate that
that
I
block
know
on Jalen
I
Brunson.
I know, like it didn't go you guys' way, but the other game you guys were still able to show fight. It's like you guys are trying to like really really find your identity, and I do like that the team is willing to in crunch time give the ball to Jalen Brunson and like have him, figure everything out instead of like, Julius Randle, who's very careless with the ball, try to feel like he has to do
hmm
everything by himself. So that's something I mentioned, I believe, on the last episode that we did. Like, and now, okay, now you guys have somebody else that could be a dominant ball handler in the crunch time instead of relying on Julius Randle, who can,
hmm
not pull through for you all the time.
Yeah. So like a lot of people were saying for that Wednesday night game was like that when it went to overtime, like the
Hmm.
last year, if it was last year's Knicks would have lost that game automatically in the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
So but they were down 5, and then they Jalen Brunson put the ball in his hands, and he basically orchestrated that comeback, that 3-pointer late to tie the game,
Yep.
and having him to go to overtime, and then just him just controlling the environment, controlling the floor. which which they missed so much last year. That was the difference, that you have him coming in, having a calming factor, knowing that, okay, give me the ball, I
Mhm.
got you. I'm going to tell you where you need to go, where you need to
Yeah.
be, what spots you need to be on the floor, and then let me run it. So we're seeing a lot more of that. So hopefully definitely get to see more of that this year, and also just like start playing, and just like make sure that you stagger the lineups a little bit more. Um, and like to see you play a little bit more minutes. But then again, it's like depending on the matchups and who they play, you're gonna get. You might have to play Julius Randle more minutes. You need to play Hartenstein more minutes. Um, Mitch a little bit more minutes. And if you're gonna have to play Obi more minutes, then so be it. Stagger the
Mhm.
lineups and to see where they go from there.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys are and you guys have something to be happy about. You guys are in way better shape than, my lovely team out west.
Oh, okay. So the Los Angeles Lakers, um, 0-5. Their last in offensive rating, last time I checked, it was a 96.1.
Something like
The
that.
low, yeah,
96, 97, something
96,
like that.
96. Yeah, it was the lowest offensive rating they have seen. And like,
Russ and AD is like bottom five in terms of like
and
shot percentage, something along those lines. Whatever it is, it ain't good. We
yeah. So they also so I read this stat on Twitter. So like the offensive rating will be as low as the 2012 Charlotte Bobcats.
Mhm.
That
It was
team
another
finished
team as
7 and
well too.
59,
Yep.
and the 2015 76ers. That team
Hmm.
started 1 and 30.
Yep.
It's finished 18 and 60. That team finished 18 and 64.
So,
So take it
Laker
away,
land,
Imani. Take it away. Take it away.
Laker fans, it ain't good right now. We not in a good spot. There's really nothing to be happy about. But then I'll say from a personal standpoint, like I I'm learning to really put my feelings aside from the game because it's like I'm coming to the game with I'm not expecting anything. I'm not like last year. Not like last year when we had Dwight, Melo, Russ, AD, Braun on the team. Like I was expecting, us to be maybe top five team in the West, right? But with the roster construction, right, we did get better in the athletic department. But
Mm-hmm.
let's say if you have a game, as we did last night, when AD sits, when Russ sits, Braun gonna be out there. Who picks up the scoring low? But I would say one thing that really has
Exactly.
impressed me, the one thing that really has impressed me is Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker has been playing aggressive. I didn't really catch much of last night's game, like more towards like the second half. But when I tuned in, he was at like
Mm-hmm.
a 0 points, play like 20 something minutes. But every game before that, Lonnie Walker has just been really, really, really aggressive, taking it to the basket. Shit,
Mm-hmm.
he's our best shooter. He's our best shooter on the team. Like shoot it with straight
Mm-hmm.
confidence. And like it's like dudes can't even buy a shot. You know what I mean? Like and just no shooting. Like our best shooting specialist, if you want to say it that way, Matt Ryan, and this guy hasn't really been getting minutes that well. Um, our bigs are in and out the lineup. We haven't had Damian Jones. First couple of games, Thomas Bryant still with the thumb injury.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when AD sits, like our backup center is Braun. You know, um, there's games where like one thing I've seen from last night's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves that actually really helped us come back in the late third quarter is that we was kind of like gang rebounding. So like you'll have Rudy Gobert in the paint, and then you have the rest of the Timberwolves on the perimeter. And instead of Russ being down there fighting with Rudy Gobert to get that board, everybody's like jumping for the board, and that's something that really helped us come back
Mm-hmm.
into that game. But it really showed towards the end of the game once they put Carl Anthony Towns and once they put Gobert out there that we cannot withstand the Twin Tower game that's going on. But one thing I've liked so far is the defense. We still have like defensive laps,
Yeah.
but in that Clipper game, the defense really has helped us out. Especially I know what everybody's saying about Russ and like I really understand. I really feel for Laker Nation when Russ does these things and it gets us really fired up in the moment. But the game against the Clippers,
Mm-hmm.
that's one game I want to look at as of right now. That game, Russ was guarding Kawhi for 3 straight possessions. In a possession like that, when you have Russ on Kawhi, who's winning that matchup? Kawhi, hands down, hands down. But
Mm-hmm.
Russ motor, he's going to give you drive and he's going to compete. 2 straight plays in a row. Kawhi was on the block, on the left block, and Russ fronted both of those plays and was able to get a steal. The next play
Mm-hmm.
on the right block, Kawhi was able to get the ball, and Russ kind of pulled the chair and made Kawhi travel. So I get what you're saying. Russ had a horrible shooting night, but Russ made key plays
Mm-hmm.
to have us a chance to win the game. If those jump shots fall that we was jacking them throughout the game, if those jump shots fall, we win the game, right? Um, so I get it. Like Russ is not going to sit there and give you 20 points a night. Not going to shoot. Not going to make his 3 points and stuff like that. Even free throws, he's going to miss layups. He's going to turn over the ball. But the fact that he still was able to put us in a position to win the game, like that's something that you got to look at. Especially with
Mm-hmm.
everything else is going on. Now, teams are scheming against us for him to shoot, and like you can hear it every
Yeah.
arena we play in, even our own arena. It's kind of like you hear the oh, like when Rush
Mm-hmm.
shoots, like when he gets open, it's like, bro,
It's basically
like
that. It's basically like they're getting they. There's a reason why Russell Westbrook is open and it's not good.
yeah, yeah, and it's like, and then also it's happening in AD as well, like that game against the Trailblazers, like Nurkic, we kicked the ball. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Anthony Davis. It's like, okay, sooner or later you're gonna have to like start playing through these injuries. I get it. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, LeBron only has like how many years left on his contract with the Lakers?
About what,
So
4, 3 or 4? Yeah,
no, he's signed an extension,
about
a 2 year extension or 1 year
2 years.
extension.
Yeah.
But my point is about Anthony Davis, like he has to start being mentally tough. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be that guy. So you're gonna have to start playing through these injuries. I know it's tough for him, but at the same time, LeBron, he's not getting any younger.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, this
And
roster is not good to have the offense go through LeBron. Anthony
mhm.
Davis has to come up and step up and be the guy for the Lakers to have any chance this season.
And what I will say is that so far, like he really hasn't been settling for like jump shots, which I really do like. Um, you
Yeah, I
would
saw I
like for
saw a
him,
stat that he's shooting. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
yeah, it's like
Um,
you keep going.
I like
My phone.
I like that his shot selection is quite different now. Like he's willing to attack the
Hmm.
basket, get down in the low post as a big should. You would like for him that when he does take those jump shots that he makes them. Sometimes they could come off like really really flat.
Hmm.
But I like that he's being really aggressive. So that's something I got to give him. On the defensive end, like still lost the beat here and there, but he played really well on the defensive end in that game against the Portland Trailblazers. Um,
Hmm.
but is like you said, the injuries, man. Like, you know, um, there was a play against the Nuggets where I believe he missed a layup or something. He got hit in the back. He got
Yeah,
hit in
the
the
guy
back by
it was
Jokic,
holding it was holding his neck or
and is
something.
holding his back. And I'm just like, bro, like here we go. It's like the
Hmm.
same way when the crowd gas when Russ is open is the same
Yeah,
way like we kind of do the same thing when AD starts grabbing his back or even when he falls down, like a contact layup when he falls down is just
yeah.
like bro, it's like we really can't get a break here. Um, but it's just been really really tough for us because it's like you look at the schedule and we could possibly go 0 for 10. You know, Um, and it doesn't help like I know everybody wants to trade now, trade now, trade now, trade now. Rob Pelinka, there was a report that came out saying that we're not going to be exploring any trades until Thanksgiving. So we're looking at maybe
Well,
20 games into the season. And like my thing is from a basketball standpoint, if you run a basketball team and you see what's going on a basketball field, basketball court, um, right? How do you have a player? How do you have a player? We're up and you trying to get a go-ahead bucket and we're up.
was
Like,
that the Sunday game against the Blazers?
yes, yes,
They were up 112, 110, and he comes down with like 25
we're
seconds
up.
left,
We
and you're
are
up
up.
like two,
And,
and you
and then
shoot two for
and then
one.
on top of that, your best two rebounders on the team is not even
On the bench.
no, they was on the court, but
Oh, on the bench, hey,
they wasn't even near the perimeter. They was both
that's
crossing
right.
half court. And once he shot the ball, you see you see Braun and AD like,
Like,
whoa, what you
whoa.
doing? And it's like, now, what would it have looked like if he makes a shot, right? Still a
Hmm.
horrible shot selection, but a shot selection like that causes us the game, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and then it also didn't help because the last play of the game where Jeremy Grant makes the layup,
Hmm.
AD didn't contest it.
You're right. He was literally in
And
front of the basket and
he's
was like,
literally in front of him. And Braun looked at him and was like, yo, bro, you got to
hmm.
get that. And the thing is, AD was playing great from a defensive end. He had 6 blocks. So it's like, bro, that could have been number 7 right there. And for you to not challenge that, it's like, bro, like what's going on? Pretty
Hmm.
much it was like, because when we was playing that game, we was up 7. I was leaving work. I was watching the game on my phone. I'm like, all right, if we can hold out, we got it. But then you got to remember that on the other team, there's somebody named Damian Lillard. And
Who's
Damian
I don't know
Lillard
who's been on fire lately.
on
Just
fire. Unfortunately,
one of the surprise teams, the Portland Trailblazers.
yeah,
That's 5-1.
yeah, 5-1. Unfortunately, that he had to leave the game because he had
Yeah,
a
his
calf
calf.
strain.
Yeah.
A calf strain. So we do wish him the best. Dame is one of my favorite players in the league. So I really couldn't be mad when he hit that game or when he hit that clutch bucket against the Lakers. 'Cause that's Dame. Dame's been doing that. And I
Hmm.
feel like Dame is walking around with a chip on the shoulder because he didn't really get to play much last season. A
Yeah.
lot of people was writing off Damian Lillard. Especially with
They
the
were
whole
they were running off the whole team,
yeah,
but they're and that kid Anthony Simons,
yeah, yep,
he's going to be something.
yep,
He had 20. He had a game not too long ago. It was against the Nuggets.
mhm,
He scored 22 in the third quarter.
yep. And I mean, it's unfortunate for Dame that like his current situation, he doesn't fit the timeline of what the Portland Trail Blazers are trying to do now.
Hmm.
Maybe it could be totally something different. I don't know. But as you're looking at it right now, it's like you have him, you got Nurkic, you got Chauncey Billups, and you pair him with a bunch of young players. Like the timeline doesn't really fit right now. Like you said, um, Simon is playing out of his mind right now, you know.
Hmm.
But the Lake Show, like our next game against the Denver Nuggets, that previous game against the Denver Nuggets, like LeBron just came out just not trying to score, like just trying to facilitate. And I get it, getting your plays
Hmm.
involved and stuff like that, but like you're just gonna have to assert your dominance,
Hmm.
because AD was out there getting his, but it's like we still need somebody else to be a scoring threat to the team. Like we're not counting on JTA to do that. We're not counting on Pat Bev to do that. Lonnie Walker has been getting his because like I don't think teams understand how to game plan against Lonnie Walker. Like Lonnie
Hmm.
Walker is kind of like, if you don't score, I'm gonna get mine. You know, Kendrick Nunn just non-existent once the season begins. Preseason, been playing out his mind. Season begins, can't make a basket, turn over
Mm.
the ball. So it's like it's a disaster. And here's my theory, right? 0-5 to start off the season. This reminds me that I'm gonna just say this real quick. Uh, there was a press conference, or well, not after the game, post game interview with the AD,
Hmm.
and AD just looked just over it, and that was the first time I ever seen AD like that. So
Mm.
it's definitely getting to him. Like the mood, the tone in his voice. Like we clearly see when LeBron is upset. We know when
Oh
LeBron
yeah.
is upset. But AD, like, didn't really want to answer questions. Just kind of no emotion in his voice. So you could tell that he's feeling it as well too. Like that, like just you think that losing will bring some kind of fire out of you, but it's like we come
Mm-hmm.
into the game and it's the same old thing. You know, now talent definitely plays a part into it, but it's like, all right, we got to have some drive to win. Like if the jump shots are not falling, we got to get it together on the defense and hope the jump shots fall. But it's a double-edged sword with the game of basketball. It's defense and offense. If you can't shoot, you can't win.
Yep.
Um,
So I'm gonna give you the next 6 games for the Lakers.
mhm.
Um, Sunday, home versus
Denver.
the Denver.
Yep.
Next game, home versus Pelicans. November 4th, home versus the Jazz. November 6th, home versus the Cavaliers. So they got a 4-game homestand upcoming, but those teams are tough. Then they go to Utah, November 7th, November 9th, against the Clippers.
Yeah. Like I
That
said, it's we're looking at a 0-10. That's what we're looking at. Like
wow,
all of those teams that you name, like
wow.
as
Mm,
a fan, you want to say that you could get up and you could win any game. Like
mm-hmm.
my name is 77-5. Like I still got hope.
Right.
You want to come in
Mm-hmm.
every single game, feel that you can win the game. But what it is
Mm-hmm.
now is that teams are playing as if like I'm not gonna let the Lakers get their first win on me. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're playing up to that. Like that's a part of the narrative right now. Like as you look at the game last night in Minnesota, they're chanting 0
They
and
were saying
5.
0
So
and 5.
0 and 5. So it's clear as day that they know what's going on.
Mm,
Like so if I'm a team on a opposing side, right? And I'm looking at my calendar, I'm like, oh, we got to play the Lakers. Let's see what their record is right now. Are we 0 and 5? You think I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
let them pick up a win on me? Like, nah. Nah.
You know,
So that's the chip that we got to go in, you know, and go into these games now. Like, these teams are not gonna let anything, you know, and let anything pass them. And something I was thinking, right? Just us being 0-4, 0-5, all of that stuff to start the season. This reminded me of when we hired Mike Brown as a coach. When we
oh,
hired Mike Brown as a coach,
that's
and I
right.
believe we lost the game in Utah, and Kobe was like, the camera was zoomed in on Kobe's face, and you don't know who he was looking at, but I believe he was looking at Mike Brown, and
Hmm.
like you could just see his eyes like just following him, and then like this before like Photoshop was a big thing, like
Mm-hmm.
people cut out his eyes and put the flames in his eyes and
Yeah.
everything, put the flames in his eyes, and then what ended up happening? Mike Brown ended up getting fired, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to have trust into Darvin Ham's scheme and everything, but it's like, bro, like you're not untouchable. You're not. You're not untouchable. And then also Rob Pelinka, we gave him an extension. It's like, bro, you're not untouchable either.
Man, you
Like
put this roster
you put
together.
you put this roster together. You're the man responsible for this, you know. And it's like when you're constructing a roster, right? As we're looking at these players that we're signing, right, that we're trading for, right, we get Pat Bev, right, we get Lonnie Walker, Troy Brown Jr., Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones. You're looking at these players, and you're like, who's shooting? Dennis Schroeder. You're like, who's shooting the basketball?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I always say this: anytime you get a great shooter and they put on a Laker jersey, they can't shoot. That always happens. It happened with Wesley Matthews a couple years ago. It happened with Kent Bazemore last year. Like once these guys get in the purple and gold, they can't shoot. They can't buy a bucket. They they can't throw a rock into an ocean, as they would say.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know, but something's got to give. Something's got to give, and like the trades that are kind of on my radar. Like everybody's saying, do the Utah trade, get Mike Conley, get Jordan Clarkson, but it's like
They're
eh,
winning, so they
right,
don't want to break up that team.
right, they don't. But it's like also Danny Ainge is like, whoa, like I ain't put this together for y'all to win. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
So it's like for
saying?
the Jazz,
So,
it's like
it's-
it's gonna be decision time for y'all.
right. So
Like,
it's that
do
trade.
Do you want Victor Wembanyama
right,
or Scoot Henderson?
right. So
And I want
that
to,
trade,
and also want to, I want to get into that in a moment. Also, so
yeah.
keep continue.
So that trade is on the table right there, and then also you got the Hornets trade as well too, with P.J. Washington, Gordon Hayward, and Terry Rozier, and it's like, okay, you know what? All right, we get Gordon Hayward, but like I don't like his contract. I haven't really
Hmm.
liked Gordon Hayward's game in like since he became a member of the
Utah,
yeah, since Utah, like
since Utah,
he was non-existent in Boston. So it's like I don't know if I really like that too much, and then just adding Terry Rozier gives us another guard that we don't need. So
you already got a whole bunch of guards on your
right, don't
rotation.
don't really help the situation. So I mean, adding PJ Washington, okay, it gives somebody a wing who's at least 6'8" that can defend. Because when you think about it, all of our wings are like six
Hmm.
six. Troy Brown is probably like our tallest wing outside of Braun. Go ahead.
Josh Primo.
I like how I like how they wave him and everybody
Like,
like, oh, he's going to the Lakers. Like,
like wait, the first no the fact that like they waved him out of thin air. Like, what happened?
yeah.
We need to know what happened. So
Yeah. So I gotta see what's going on with that.
yeah,
And then also everybody's saying the indie trade, right? You guys know how I feel about the indie trade. Like I like it, but then again, I don't. Like I don't like giving up 2 first-round picks for that because look, let's say we lose Miles Turner to free agency. Miles Turner is AD. Like
yeah.
the both can't stay healthy, right? So
Hmm.
you let's just say you lose AD, right? We lost Russ in the trade, so like we can't rely on Russ. Can we get Buddy Hield to give us 20 points every single game? No. Can
Nope.
we rely on Buddy Hield to be a defender? No.
Indiana's trying to get him out of here. They want Ben Matherin and Tally Halliburton to play 30 minutes.
Right. So, we can see that. And then also Buddy Hield's up there in age. Like it's really crazy, but in the blink of an eye, he's really up there in age. I remember when he got
Hmm.
drafted, he's really up there in
Yeah,
age. So it's like, okay, we're gonna have to really pull something out of our sleeve to make this work on some.
and on top of that, you really can't tank because
You
the
can't.
Hornets the
They,
Pelicans
they they
got your
have our
pick.
pick. They have our pick. So it's like
So
we're
this,
really gonna have to pull
oof.
something out of our sleeve on some Mitch Kupchak getting Pau
Hmm.
Gasol for Kwame Brown type trade. Like I don't know what it's looking like right now, but like just Laker Nation, it ain't good right now. It ain't fun. It's just not good right now. Um,
Oof.
I mean, like I said, my theories are I don't know if Darvin got to go. I might get a lot of crap for
Already?
that. But I don't
No,
know.
no, no. Actually, they've been Lakers Twitter. They've been rubbing about
Yep,
get Darvin out of here.
yep.
Darvin.
Darvin. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to my man Jackson. Shout out to Jackson. Um, yeah, and also Rob Pelinka. Like you know, I love him being Kobe's agent. But it's
But
like, but this is totally different. You're running an entire basketball organization,
you're
and
not Bob Myers.
right, and we not getting the W's right now. So something has to give. If we get we're 0-5 right now, right? Laker Nation, we start to press panic ASAP, right?
And you know what's worse? The team that's in Northern California has the same record,
Yep,
0-4, the
yep,
Sacramento Kings.
yep.
And
Um,
the Kings have played well besides their record. So
and, and we're making the Sacramento
sheesh,
Queens look good right now,
sheesh.
So it's man, it's just tough, man. It's just really tough, to be a Laker fan right now. Um, like I said, I'm trying to be really, really, optimistic about everything, but it's just really difficult. Just knowing that you're gonna play the game, and you know what's gonna happen. Like you know what's gonna happen.
Wow.
Um, it's not a good look in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. I can see some firings happening. Um,
And the fact that you don't have your own pick
yep,
for this season with this loaded draft,
yep,
man.
yep.
And on top of that, the Pelicans make the playoffs and make us run to the second round with conference finals and
And
get
then
the
they
number one
get the
pick,
pick.
get Victor Wembanyama, team with Zion Williams and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum.
That's
Like,
nasty work. That
see?
that
what
that but then again, that's what happens though.
that's what happens when you
That
that's the price you pay
yeah,
for
that's
winning
the
the
price you pay.
championship.
That's the
That's the
price you
price you pay
pay.
getting
So
Anthony
like
Davis. Yeah, so
yeah,
the Lakers
so
had to make that deal.
right. So when I see people say, "Oh, well, we should never traded for AD in the first place," like look at Ingram, look at Josh Hart, bro, you do understand that we was able to get a championship out of it, right? It's like once you get the championship, it's like all that other stuff. It doesn't matter.
And
It
then you have to
doesn't
pay the
matter.
price later,
Yeah,
regardless.
it happens. It happens that way, But what what we're trying to do, we're not trying to fall for the rope a dope like like LeBron does when he leaves teams. When he leaves teams, he
He
leaves
leaves
teams
a
high and
mess.
dry. He leaves
He
in a
leaves them as
mess.
a
He
mess.
leaves in a mess. So like that's something that you got to think about as well too. Like, of course, I would love to contend, but I don't know if I could sit there like how I was sitting there after when Kobe left. Like during
hmm
those years, even when Kobe was there towards his last year, like it was
Last
a
couple of years,
struggle. The last couple,
they
it
were not
was
good.
it was terrible, man.
Oof,
Like relying on Jordan Hill and Ryan Kelly and Robert Sacre and
oof,
Wesley Johnson and Xavier
oof,
Henry, like
oof.
um what what's his kid's name? God, uh
Um,
is it is it? It's not Ronnie Brewer. It's the other Brewer.
no,
Um,
um, uh,
forget his name.
yeah.
Forget his name. But that's what we had to go through. So we trying to make ourselves in a better position so that way when LeBron leaves, whatever his sons come to play, whatever the case may be, like we'll still be in a good position to figure things out.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, so Lakers, they have a hole to climb out. I just don't know where the shooting's going to come from in the trade, what trades are going to happen with the help of the Lakers because uh this especially this year with the whole Victor Wembanyama factor, teams are going to either have to either when it comes to like
There's two
when it comes to
options. You
Christmas,
win or
you
you
win
tank.
or you tank.
That's it.
You want to
There's
win
there's no in
in the all
between.
costs or you got to tank. You don't want to be stuck in that middle because you get stuck in the playing, and next thing you know you're out right outside the top 10, and it's like you want to try to trade up into the top 10, but you can't because you don't have the
You got
draft picks and
leverage.
assets. You don't have the leverage.
Yep.
So especially this season, teams are going to realize by come between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and even maybe towards the trade deadline, that teams are going to have to either pivot to making the playoffs or
Hmm.
pivot to tanking for at least a top 5, top 10 pick.
Hmm.
Because the way he's shaping out right now, even though it's still early, the Lakers will have the number 1 pick, but that pick will go to the Pelicans.
Oh.
The Nets, they don't have their pick. Um, the Sixers don't have their pick. The Bucks, they're championship contenders, so they don't care about picks. They already traded all their picks for Drew Holiday.
Hmm.
Um, the Magic and Pistons, they're still in the running, even though the Magic played, they won last night. They beat up on the Hornets. They played better. They played way better than their record shows. I
Yep.
was I was there. I was at the game one day against the Knicks Magic. Paolo Banchero, he's that
It's
guy.
on the tear. Yep.
He's that guy.
He low key surprised me because I didn't expect him to be this good. Like once the season started. I
hmm
think his first game. What did he have? Like what
He had 25,
25 and
25,
5
5,
and
and
5.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like LeBron's numbers. Like rookie season
hmm
LeBron
That's
numbers.
yeah. That was yeah. They say he's the first player to have
Hmm.
that game since his first. He's the first player to have his first game of 25 5 5 since LeBron in 2003.
Yep. So that's really impressive. Really impressive.
Yeah. So I think the issue is that their guard play, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs is out. Bowl, he finally getting some playing time and he balled out.
Hmm.
Um, Franz Wagner, I like him a lot. I just like their team.
I don't like his brother.
Who
Um, wait, you said
Franz Wagner, Mo
Mo
Wagner,
Wagner. I don't like his
Mo
brother.
Wagner.
I don't like his brother.
You know the
I
Lakers.
don't like his brother. I don't like him.
Yeah, we got Magic. They still got ways to go. Pistons. I've watched them play opener last Friday. They got something coming. I had them as a sneaky playing team. They also a slow start, but Cade Cunningham, the tandem of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, gonna be get much better as the season goes along. Steve Bay and the crew. They still got the veterans that out with injury with Burks and Noah's Noel. So still early, but they're gonna start getting this stuff together. Surprise teams. Okay, so I'm gonna do this last segment before we head out. Your surprise team so far, your most disappointing team so far, besides the Lakers.
Surprise team. Let me fact check something real quick. While I'm going, you could go ahead.
We go. Okay. So my surprise team this year so far, the Portland Trailblazers at 5-1. I didn't see this coming. I know that they, the Jeremy Grant, you have Josh Hart. They've been balling out. Damian Lillard, even though he's out 1 or 2 weeks with the calf strain, he's been balling out. Another year under Chauncey Billups that's gotten the team to a solid start. I just like the makeup of them, of what they got going on right now. Nurkic is back and fully healthy. Jeremy Grant signing, I really like a lot. So they're a solid team, but I didn't see him as a start of the season at 5-1. Also another one, the San Antonio Spurs. They were to me were a lottery team. They traded away DeJounte Murray for 3 first-round picks. They also waived Josh Primo last night without
No
mention, no pause,
explanation.
no reason why, no explanation.
Yeah.
But Kelvin Johnson and the Devin Vassell been playing really well. And if there's a candidate for teams to start calling for trades, Jakob Poeltl will be a ideal candidate for a team to start calling for trades because he's been playing well, and
I would
also
love
he's
to
big
have
like
him. I would love to have him
as a
on the
stretch
team.
five, as a stretch five who can shoot.
Yep.
So
He
look out.
cooked AD last season.
Yeah, he did.
He
So
cooked him.
look watch out for the San Antonio Spurs. Like there's a team that teams are going to like start calling for. Okay, you see what the price is for Jakob Poeltl or also any other players on that team. So there could be a player, there could be a team to watch for to like see if they can sustain this or completely go to race the top 10 pick. So look out for that. So keep an eye on that. The most disappointing team. What's Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So as far as my disappointing team, I spoke with earlier the 76ers. 2-4 start. Defense has been really bad. The transition defense has been god awful. Joel Embiid, like you're hearing rumblings about him. He's not happy about his role. Offense going through James Harden instead of Joel Embiid. Doc Rivers situations, he's getting a little bit more hotter if they don't turn this around quick. It's still early 6 games, but you want to get off to a good start. But I just don't like the way they're playing defense, and they need to clean it up ASAP. Another disappointing team. The Clippers. Okay, so the fact it's not the team, but the fact that Kawhi Leonard, he's been out for a full year and he's still taking off games. It's a little concerning. I know it's still early, 5 games, but still, you want to see him out there getting back into basketball shape, getting back to the play that
I'll
he
tell you one
was
thing
before the
though.
injury.
I'll tell you one thing. Kawhi was out there doing his thing against us. I can tell you that for a fact. I can tell you that they knew exactly what they was doing. And they knew
and then
exactly what
next
they
two
was
games he
doing.
sits down.
Yeah, they knew exactly what he was
Next two
doing.
games he sits.
and low key, I was getting PTSD from the 2019-2020 season when he came in there hitting fadeaways against JTA. They knew exactly what they was doing with Kawhi. But the next couple of games they sat him and John Wall, and John
Yeah.
Wall was giving us buckets on in that game against the Clippers. So they knew exactly what they was doing with Kawhi. They know exactly what they were doing with Kawhi. I tell you, Kawhi will
Hmm.
play. Kawhi will play the next couple of games. But if he playing the Lakers,
Hmm.
he's gonna play. He's gonna play. So that's real spiteful out of the Clippers. But
All right,
go
so
ahead, Eric.
give us your. I'm actually so you give
Okay,
us your surprise and
so I'll
disappointing
go.
teams.
Surprising team. I will go with the Atlanta Hawks. Um, I really
Mm,
felt that going into the season, I didn't think, even with the trade of for Dejounte Murray, I didn't think that they was gonna be this good. They're 4-2 right now, so it's like I said, it's still early in the season, but I like that they're still able to share. It's kind of like you still got two floor generals on the floor. That's one thing I really like. I was really concerned about
hmm.
Trey Young getting his shot selection with another point guard as in Dejounte Murray. But, Trey Young is
Hmm.
averaging 10 assists right now while Dejounte's averaging 7. So, like, the ball distribution is actually really, really good right now. As far as the matchup, they really haven't had any, like, top-tier matchups so far. They've been playing, like, the
Hmm.
Magics, the Pistons. So, nobody really crazy that moves the needle, that really what's the word I'm looking for? Like that gives a really great competition. But that would be like
Oh,
my most
Wednesday
surprising.
against the Knicks.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Wednesday against the Knicks.
Uh-oh. F Trey Young. F Trey
Trey
Young.
Young versus Jalen
F
Brunson. Let's go.
Trey Young. F Trey Young. It's Trey Young is coming back to the Garden, back to the Mecca. So that's gonna be a really good one. But the Atlanta Hawks is my most surprising team. As far as disappointing teams, I will go with the Miami Heat. With my
Yeah.
guy Sean
Two
at
and
yo,
four.
Sean, I don't see
Two
you
and
in the
four.
chat today, but the Miami Heat, man, just very disappointed. And we said this like even when we was doing like our off season
PJ Tucker loss.
episode, like the loss of PJ Tucker, like it's really crazy. Like as he doesn't put as much numbers on the board, but he gives you a def, great play on the defensive end, and also just a toughness. That's something that they're missing. But I'm also hearing some rumblings
Hmm.
that you know I hate to say, it, but this guy Jay Crowder, he wants out.
Yeah.
He wants out of Philly. I mean, excuse me, out of Phoenix. So
Phoenix.
they say that he might be making his way back to Miami. So it's like, all right, you're getting the same type of player. You are. You're getting the same type of player. But it's just they're very inconsistent with Bam Adebayo.
And
Bam
and
Adebayo could look great
and they
really
and
one night and just not be good the next.
mhm.
Um,
And they can't and they still have a problem with scoring. It's like
with scoring,
they can play
yep,
defense. As, but this scoring is like, where is the scoring going to come from with instead of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, here who just got signed that extension?
crazy.
Kyle Lowry looks like he lost a step or two.
Yep.
So I don't know where we're going to go. They need to address a point guard situation.
But then I'm not sure if I can even say it was very surprising because we kind of seen this coming. We didn't know it was going to be this bad to start off the
Right.
season. But then again, they didn't really make any moves in the offseason. Like I always say that the move that they made in the offseason was give Udonis Haslem another contract. That's the move that they made. That's the move that they made. I don't know what
I
they
get,
thought they was going to do with
hey,
that.
send
I
them
know
off.
right. I didn't know if they was trying to be a championship contender with that move, that powerhouse blockbuster move that they did during the offseason. But the Miami Heat, they just been just very inconsistent. Like the scoring is just not there. Um, like you said, Tyler Hero with his extensions, like bro, you're not proving anything. Um, so it, yeah, I'll go with the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
And back.
they're 20. So they're 20.2 points per game.
Mm,
So they like find some scoring or Duncan Robinson? Someone please explain to me where is Duncan Robinson? Because I haven't seen him play or is filming on that, Sean. So yeah, it kind of a disappointing start for them. So anything else before we sign up for today?
um, Lake Show. Let's win a game. Win a game, bro. Just win a game. That's it. Just win a game, bro. Like just win a game.
Well,
77
all right.
5. Road
So
to 77 and
that'll
5, you know.
yep. So that'll be the conclusion of this episode of episode 31 of the Shoopers podcast. Just like to thank everyone who joined in today, who to the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also to our this will be also recorded as podcast. So just listen to it on whatever podcast outlets you have, either it's Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever. Also give us a ring. And we'll see y'all next week when we discuss more about the NBA season. And final thought is Jalen Brunson is an all-star. So with that, Money, myself, and for Ernest, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.